And as Knackle quickly scurries out of the jingle chair, Josh comes in to interview the one, the only Mog. We will be hearing from him in just a second. But before that, I'm going to quickly disagree with Knackle in saying it wasn't just too close to cut. It went over off stump. It was a ridiculous shot to cut, but he was a bit unlucky. It was a very good ball. Do we have any final tweets or any thoughts from Andy?
Yeah, I'll try and wibble a bit because you'll need me to, just in case you have a delay. Just point at me if you've actually got him on. Okay.
And I'm gonna. The bear is going to take his place in control for this interview.
Jeff Perkins says it's a pitch. Yes, the pitch is a track. Dropped in, then rolled as a matter of fact. I've got it now. It's the pitch is back. It's a pitch. It's a piece of shit. Is that Mog 7734 in the mosh pit? Very good. Steve Kellett, everything you just said about Sir Elton is true. He pioneered the cranial use of drop-in pitches in the rock music business, which was also followed by a number of cricketers. Cricketers very big on that, on those hair plugs and hair replacement strategies. All day in the sun under those caps tends to make you bald. Messi Jez gives us a reminder to all England supporters: do not allow hope to grab you again. It will burn you dreadfully. I got the ghost of Christmas past. What on earth is that noise?
That noise is presumably the crowd noise from the MCG, where Mog is joining us on the line. Mog, can you hear us?
That's probably the Barmy Army going off their tits.
Excellent. We are joined by Mog. Andy, let us. Are you done? I didn't hear a word of what you were saying. Mog, how are you?
Well, I've wandered outside to avoid going to a toilet that's ankle deep in piss, so I'm doing pretty well.
Sounds great. Avoiding standing ankle deep in piss, unless that's your kind of thing, is probably recommended. How's the day been for you?
Yeah, not too bad. I've been lurking around from different viewpoints, and I can't tell what's going on properly from any of them, so it doesn't surprise me. I'm not very good at tactical, strategic stuff. So if somebody moves someone somewhere else, I have no idea what that really means.
Have you watched much of the test?
This is the first day I've actually come to it. I've listened to the previous couple of days through you guys.
Well, we're sorry about that.
Yeah, that's why I pay you so much.
And we are incredibly grateful, not only for your interactions, but also for the fantastic jingles. We have a question sent in from our dear listener, Ravi. Ravi has a tea-time conundrum for you and for our listeners, which is: how are England going to fuck this one up?
Permitted at the bottom of the stairway in the Yarra Park area. Just repeating, smoking is permitted.
What on earth
So
is
we've just
that?
got a no smoking. That's a no smoking thingy.
Stop smoking, Mog.
I'm trying. God, I just can't help it. How are they going to fuck it up?
Yeah.
I would assume that today's little bit of resistance will encourage them all to get pissed and show up tomorrow looking like a bunch of tramps.
Well, getting pissed is something that I'm certainly more expert at than playing cricket. I think
They probably
we're now
won't be
on.
drinking any wine.
No,
I wouldn't think so.
no. So tell us a bit about yourself and about how long you've been involved with Guerilla Cricket, because many of our listeners will know you from your Twitter interactions, but also will have been listening to a lot of your jingles.
And I'm so sorry to put you all through that. I started listening back when they were on the sofa. And then they stopped being on the sofa, and then I found them again not long after they started up as Guerilla Cricket. And I have injected myself into the proceedings from a distance ever since. So, and I guess I believe enough in them to give them my money.
We have a question from the T-boy from the green room, which he's asking you, what are you wearing, Mog?
What am I wearing? I'm wearing a pair of keen leather walking shoes.
I was expecting a pair of leather something else.
No, that's underneath my pants. A Face No More t-shirt and a shirt over the top of that. Pretty exciting.
That is exciting. I wonder if that is enough detail for George, if George is satisfied with that description. Tell us more about the shirt.
I'm a bit colourblind. I see it as sort of a dark greeny grey, but apparently it's olive. So
Olive is greeny grey, is it not?
I don't know.
And Jeff Perkins has suggested that we should play the Mog Patreon jingle to honour this great occasion, which I will do in due course. It's queued up especially. Ewan Innes is asking, hands up all those who had a different voice in mind for Mog 7734.
Fuck off.
Are you telling Ewan to fuck off, or are you telling the voice over the tannoy to fuck off? While the voice over the tannoy, while he plays it, I will play your Patreon jingle, which is coming up now.
He likes axes. He likes swords. Sowing hate. Throwing discord. He likes non-Australian sides. But you can shove your princess brides. Mog, 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 mog. Mog, 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 mog.
One of the great jingles.
Jesus Christ.
How have you enjoyed the day?
Yeah, it's been good. It's not as... I'm not a big fan of the sunshine, and it hasn't been sunny, so...
Hands
that's
up,
always a plus.
who's surprised that Mog is not a big fan of the sunshine?
Just out of interest, what voice were people expecting?
Well, that's a good question. This is more or less what I was expecting. I was expecting someone not as filthy mouthed as the tweets might suggest, but yeah, I'd be curious.
I could be.
I mean, we'd welcome it, of course. But
well, there are so many fucking morons here wearing fucking stupid fucking beards and fucking costumes and anyway.
Do you mean the Barmy Army or the Richies? The Richies who don't even look like Richie?
No, this is just random people. I've seen a few second-rate costumes go by. So,
I mean, what's one of the things I find most irritating about watching international cricket is the people who are in the ground in order not to watch the cricket but to be watched themselves. And I guess we can hear some members of the intelligentsia chanting behind you. Is that the Barmy Army we're being subjected to behind you?
Yes, they are standing at the front of the Bradman gate, being Bradmans.
Yeah, being Bradmans, being as witty as witty as the Barmy Army is renowned for, presumably. I wonder if Dutchbird is in with them.
Oh no, we have a counter chant going now of Aussie, oi, oi, oi.
Again, such a wonderful display of inimitable wit there.
I believe that is our unofficial national anthem.
Oh, I thought it was Waltzing Matilda.
No, fuck that stupid song.
Indeed. Messy Jez asks, is there any chance of Smith drowning in his own tears as he drops ever easier catches?
I tell you what, he is a little shit standing there in the field.
Smith?
He just... Yeah, like that, the jingle that... Maybe Ben did. I think about him playing with himself. He's just constantly shifting and twitching and grabbing things and looking like a pouty little toddler who's been denied his bottle. It's pathetic.
Wait, you don't mean your jingle for Smith?
No. It's, yeah, I don't know whose it is. I should pay attention.
You mean this one?
Stop. Just stand still. Stop playing with yourself. Oh, very unsightly. Stop fiddling about. Stop playing with yourself. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's fine.
You look a bit mental. Stop playing with yourself. Keep your hands to yourself. Stop. Oh. Stop playing with yourself. You will go blind.
We have a question from the Bear who's asking, where's your sword, Mog? Why are you not hacking innocents to death inside the MCG? Well, to be honest, it sounds like it's not the innocents you should be hacking to death. It's those boorish spectators who are screaming and preventing the enjoyment.
Look, I tried to bring in one of my axes and I claimed it was for medical reasons, but they just wouldn't have a bar of it. It's disappointing.
What were the medical reasons you claimed?
It was, you have support dogs.
Oh yeah, and you have
It was
a
a
support
support
act.
act.
Okay, so you didn't claim that you're a medical practitioner, you're an amputationist, and you need the axe in order to go about your business.
I could have said, I suppose, I'm going to deliver the coup de grace of someone's career, but no one's career seems to be ending just yet.
And Ravi Nair asks if you are surrounded by ghouls and grindcoreists, or if you're in fact channeling your inner misanthropist and maintaining a safe space of 2 meters from humans at all times.
If the camera ever panned up to the top level of the southern stand, you might have seen me perched up there, gargoyle-like, fairly much away from people for a while. So, yes, is the answer.
So you prefer watching cricket in solitude?
It helps, yeah.
Presumably that's relatively difficult in a ground that's got 60-odd thousand people in it.
Yeah, well, easier today than it would have been Boxing Day, but yeah, it's not that easy to get away, although my personal hygiene often accomplishes that for me. So,
Do you have personal hygiene habits that you'd like to share with our listeners?
well, I haven't showered for like 4 days before coming up here, so that no one would sit next to me.
Good work, good work. The T-Boy says that he was expecting an Aussie Darth Vader voice.
Okay.
And Jeff Perkins asks, does this mean that Mog doesn't have a fried chicken bucket on his head? And Ravi asks an interesting question. This is one that's been troubling many of our listeners. How come that you, Mog, with a boilerplate Aussie accent, have the good taste to despise the Australian cricket team? In fact, my understanding was that you despise all things Australian, or perhaps it's just that you despise all things full stop.
Oh no, George Bailey. I'm a big fan of George Bailey.
Big fan of George Bailey.
But the rest of the short answer is they're all cunts.
They're all cunts.
They're just obnoxious, entitled shit.
And that's the Australian cricket team, or that's cricketers in general?
No, that's the Australian cricket team.
It's the Australian cricket team. Is there a team you support?
Whoever plays Australia, mostly.
Whoever plays Australia.
Or Afghanistan, perhaps, will be once they ramp up to be world champions.
How did you get into cricket?
I was born in Australia. I didn't have a choice.
I've got Australian colleagues, friends who aren't huge cricket followers. So the colleague in the office next to me has just moved from Sydney to Cardiff, from New South Wales to South Wales, and while she's aware there's a test series going on, she's not following it in any meaningful sense.
I would suggest that was a deportation, not a voluntary move.
What was the first? What are your formative cricketing memories?
I'm not precisely sure when these were. That would have been in the early 80s, I guess, when I would come home from Christmas holidays, come home from the grandparents' place and sit down and watch Alan Border and Jeff Lilly and those types.
We seem to have lost Mog. I will see if I can get him back on the line. How do I do that? If someone could help me out here in order to use the... here we are. Are you back there? I didn't know how to... Excellent. I didn't know how to find the number of someone who had previously called me, who wasn't saved in the contacts. Bear is looking. Bear is looking. What's the word? Accusatorily at me for not being able to use WhatsApp. You, Mog, have managed to call me back in such a way that I don't need to work this. Yeah, well, I teach English literature and critical theory. It's not like I need to use tech in any way. So yeah, you were saying you'd come back from the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, so I'd come back. It'd be around about this time of year, and I would just sit down and watch all the greats of early 80s Australian cricket.
And
like Lilly and Marsh.
And watch them lose to Mike Gatting and David Gower's England.
Yeah, it was around about, when did they win in England? 1989?
Yeah.
I think that's the point where I started disliking the Australian cricket team.
Okay. That's interesting. The first Ashes series I followed was 4 years after that, with Shane Warne and Tim May in '93.
Good old Tim May.
good old Tim May, who now he's involved as he's the players' representative on the
ICC,
or he was, or the BCCI tried to get rid of him for being too independent or something like that, if I remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure he was the players' rep for Australia and then got promoted somewhere.
Yeah, no, that sounds familiar. But I know there was an attempted coup. I don't know if it was successful or not. So your dislike of the Australian Test team came after about 10 years of following them, and was there a particular trigger for that?
It's probably Mark Taylor.
Tell us
more. He started to strike me as that expectation of entitlement kind of thing, where he and the whole team just sort of acted as though, yes, we deserve to win. How dare anybody try any sort of resistance? And then it just got worse when Warne and McGrath made appearances, because they fucking did kill everyone.
They fucking did kill everyone, but also, you know, as we were saying yesterday, the day before, Warne and McGrath are two of Australia's all-time great players, you know, the two highest wicket takers. McGrath, the highest wicket-taking quick bowler. Warne, probably the greatest slow bowler that the world has seen. Is it not legitimate for them to expect to win?
I think there's a way to go about expecting to win without being turds, and they often come across as turds.
I'm being spoken at by T-Boy as we see the footage of the players coming out onto the field. Mog, tell us about your musical inspirations. Tell us what motivates you. Both general musical inspirations. Obviously, your renowned band, Disinterested Handjob, is famous across our listenership. But also, what goes through your mind? What motivates you in creating the jingles? I'm going to have to...
As far as the jingles go, I'll often just hear somebody's name and it will just match a song.
Yeah.
For some reason. And as far as Disinterested Handjob goes, I just have Google news alerts for things like cannibalism, incest, murder, all the fun things in life.
And all those other good, clean, enjoyable aspects of life.
Family fun.
Absolutely. I mean, what better things to do with your family? I mean, how else to practice incest if not with your family? It would be very difficult. Bear wants some wine. Let me top his glass up. I mean, incest without family would be fiendishly difficult.
Inauthentic, and you can't have that.
Indeed. As we should we should probably cut off because Bird is... I don't know if anyone's burping, but Bear and Dave are sitting down, and Bird has just bowled to Cook, who's flicked the ball off his pads down to deep backward square for 2 runs.
We should cut this phone call.
We should probably cut the phone call. It's great to have you online. Mog, thank you for joining us. It's been a deep pleasure, and we'll look forward to future interactions. Many thanks.
You're a liar and a scoundrel. Thank you.
I am indeed. All the very best.
We love Mog.